streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to...
Yeah, here we go, y'all. Here we go. Another episode of Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and we got a great show lined up for you today. But I have a question for you first. What if the story that you've been carrying isn't just for you? What if your greatest setback could become someone else's breakthrough, and your next chapter is bigger than you ever imagined? Well, today I'm sitting down with an incredible storyteller, an author, a purpose-driven entrepreneur who believes that your story doesn't end when the book is published. That's when it truly begins. We'll explore how to transform your experiences into impact and discover why healing before sharing your message and uncover your voice can inspire, it can have purpose, it can inspire hope and lasting change. So stay with us, because this conversation may just help you discover the power of your own story. This is Born to Speak to You TV, where we speak life into the moments that matter, and we'll be right back after this brief message. Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV, where we're speaking life into the moments that matter. This isn't just a show. It's a movement. It's a space where stories are honored, voices are lifted, and truth has a mic. Each episode, we dive into powerful conversations on identity, on equity, growth, healing, leadership, and the courage that it takes to speak up in a world that often wants us to keep quiet. Whether it's through personal testimony, community impact, or artistic expression, Born to Speak to You is where voices rise and change begin. Our mission is simple: to empower people to use their voice, own their truth, and build bridges of communication and understanding. So, sit back or lean in, because you're about to witness what happens when passion meets purpose. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Let's speak life. And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and I want to properly introduce my guest for today. She is a storyteller. She's an author. She's a publishing coach, and she's the founder of Ready Writer Services, LLC. Now, she's passionate about helping people transform their life experiences into messages that inspire, heal, and create lasting impact. Through her work, she empowers aspiring authors to go beyond writing a book and build a legacy that speaks life into others. Please help me and join me in welcoming the incredible Giselle Quintanilla to Born to Speak to You TV. Hey, Giselle, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much, Calvin. Thank you for having me on. It's my honor.
It's my pleasure, and it's going to be a great show. I like to get started right away by jumping into the deep end of the pool. That's where all the fun is. So let's get started with segment one. This is what I call the storyteller. And you describe yourself as a storyteller. What does that title mean why does that title mean more to you as an entrepreneur or an author?
The title of storyteller is significant to me as an entrepreneur, as an author. I truly believe that telling stories, it helps people. It moves people. Stories move people. And I believe that we are purposed. We're supposed to share our stories. We go through life, we endure certain things. Something happens to us if we're at a grocery store, right? Or if we're driving somewhere, or sometimes we're home and something happens. And
Right.
there are experiences that we live. And those lived experiences are meant to be shared, because chances are, Calvin, we're not the only ones who experienced whatever that is. And there is relatability in storytelling.
All right. I like that. Relatability in storytelling. Love that. Love that. And when did you first realize that stories have the power to change lives?
I would say when I first got saved, that was 2015. And I was navigating life, 2014. I was navigating life, and I'm just trying to find out, like, what am I supposed to do with life? What am I supposed to do in this life? What is my purpose? 2017, I decided I wanted to start a blog, and I wanted to write about all the things that I had endured, whether it was childhood, my teenage years, young adult years, in marriage, in navigating my new faith. I wanted to share those stories with other people. And when I did launch my blog, that's what I did. I would just write about my experiences and how, the biblical foundation behind them. And I would have so many women, because the blog was for women, so many women would reach out and say, this was for me. This was for me. And that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one living out this story, right? Or I'm not the only one who had this experience, and other people need to know it too.
Mm-hmm. And as a speaker myself, I've learned that over the course of time, it is hard for me to stand up on the stage and tell people about how to just express themselves, tell their story. And I had layers of my story that I've never told anyone. And I said, I am being hypocritical. I need to start telling it. And I'll tell you something. Once I started telling my truth, telling my story, and this is, definitely related to my family and my upbringing, I started feeling so much better.
Yeah.
It was just like a weight had been lifted off of me, and I'm sure that my story is going to help somebody else down the line. So
Yeah.
is there a chapter of your life that almost stopped you from pursuing your purpose?
Ooh. I would say yes. So a few years ago, it was shortly after my divorce. Shortly after the divorce, I started seeing somebody, and it was chaotic. It was chaotic in that I was out of order and in business. So I was also out of order in business, and I was just taking clients for the sake of taking clients. And so I had kind of lost the focus, right? This was not my business. It was God's business. It wasn't mine. But I was taking a client, and I knew that this client wasn't somebody that I needed to work with, because I had heard clearly a no in my spirit. But I was like, I'm going to keep going, because when you're a single parent and you're trying to put food on the table, and you got, you are full-time entrepreneurship, you're like, I gotta do what I gotta do. Right. And I learned the hard way. And one thing about me is it only takes one time, Calvin, praise God for me being that type of child. I just needed to be spanked once for me to be like, never mind.
I learned my lesson. I'm good.
My lesson. And so this client, she was so difficult. And again, in my personal life, I was out of order dating this person that, unequally yoked. In my business life, I was just taking this person, and she was so chaotic. It was so horrible. I almost just quit the business. Like, I just almost was like, forget it. I don't want to do this. It's not worth it. I mean, she really made it so horrible for me as an entrepreneur. And I almost said, forget it. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. You know, she drove me down the hole financially. It was horrible.
Right.
But I had to, in that moment, Calvin, I had to humble myself before God and be like, my bad. I was wrong. And so help me to realign myself. Yeah, it was close.
That's right.
I almost
That's right. It was close. I hear you. But your story is so powerful. It's inspirational. It will definitely help some people if they heard some of the things that you've gone through. And just this story, how you was able to rise above all of that. Also learn your lesson.
yeah. Yeah. It sounds minor, Calvin, but honestly, there are people, and this is what I think everybody needs to be careful of, is if you heard and you know what you're called to, you need to be rooted and grounded in that. Because there will be people who will come in your way and they'll try to make you think otherwise. They'll try to tear you down. They will try to say, that you're not good enough. And if you are not rooted in God, you'll believe it.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Well, we're going to put a pin in it for a second, and we'll be right back after this short message. This is Born to Speak to You TV. We'll be right back. We're back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. And Giselle, I forgot to even mention the title of this episode. This is called Beyond the Book, Where Your Story Comes Alive. And that's the name of our next segment, Beyond the Book. Okay. I want to ask you, what inspired you to start Ready Writer Services?
I wanted to write. I wanted to start my blog and share my story. And so to do that, I had a friend who actually helped me. I will forever honor her, Thelana Bennett. She came to me and she was like, I want to work with you. I'm going to work with you and help you start your blog. And then she said, but you need to get a book. Like, if you're going to have somebody subscribe, you need to give them an ebook. So I wrote a really short but meaty book on purpose and my journey of discovering my purpose. And when I launched the blog and the book, I had a friend who said, hey, I have a book in me too. And so I just helped her with her editing. I had never done editing before. I just was like, let me just do it and try, see how it goes. When she launched her book, another friend reached out to me and she said, I have a story too. I want to share my story about infertility. And I have 3 beautiful children. And I said, okay, great. And, so I started helping her and I helped her write her book. And when she was done, she said to me, this was October of 2018. And she said, Giselle, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you do. And I had to pray about it because I have done many things that I was not supposed to do and learned the hard way. So I did, and I had just peace, and everything came together. Ready Writer Services, the name, which is, founded in Psalm 45, verse 1, the logo. I mean, everything just came together, and I knew this is what I'm supposed to do. And since then, it's just been amazing. I've helped so many people share their stories and their knowledge, their wisdom. I have business professionals I work with. But for me, Ready Writer Services, it's to help people grow and be empowered and educated and inspired.
Thanks for sharing that, first of all. I was going to say, I believe that it is one of life's most precious moments when you realize why you were born and what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
For me, it was just a moment that I will never forget. Born to speak to you. For a long period of time in Brooklyn, I didn't say much. I would enter a room, and if anybody else wanted to talk, they could have it because I wasn't going to say anything. And now you can't shut me up because I realize what my purpose is.
Yeah.
You often say that a book is just the beginning, right? What do you mean by that?
Yes. Often people come, and I work with a lot of new authors, aspiring authors, people who they know they have a book in them. But what happens oftentimes is they'll publish their book and then it's the end of the road. And really, I say, the book is just the beginning. It's just an entryway. And I often call it's a business card. That's your business card. That's what tells people that you are the authority in whatever it is that you're sharing. Whether it's your professional life, you're sharing something with, let's say, real estate or finances, or you're sharing your testimony of how you overcame something, or you're sharing your imagination in children's books. So I've done that too, but it's only the beginning of whatever you're called to in life. So for me, when I say that, it's like, don't just think it's one and done, or you published it and that's it. A lot of people forget they're even authors. So it's just the beginning.
Why do you think that so many authors stop after publishing instead of going on and building a platform?
I think it's different reasons. I think that it's not understanding strategy and marketing, and not understanding how to really market yourself, your brand, your message. It's also, I believe, readiness. A book is weighty. It holds a lot of weight. And I think sometimes because we see so many published people, we think, oh, it's just another book, but it holds a lot of weight. And so sometimes people will publish a book and they're not quite ready to really come up under that vision and expand it. And so you have to be ready emotionally. You have to be ready spiritually. You have to be ready mentally for the exposure, because you're going to get exposure. You have to put yourself out there when you publish a book. And so a lot of people just aren't ready for it.
Okay. Now, what opportunities, I know there's probably millions of them, but what opportunities can grow from writing a book that people often overlook? Just some of them.
Yeah. There's opportunities to start a podcast, a radio show. I've seen that. There's opportunities to start a workshop. I've had, you can do workshops, you can do curriculums, online courses, you can do cohorts, right? Programs. I mean, there's just so much that can come from your book. And then, you're just speaking, of course, right? Number one, born to speak. Yeah. Born to speak to you. Speaking opportunities. I've seen people take on stages and even create stages from their book. So there's, yes, to your point, there's a plethora.
Oh yeah. Somebody that comes to my mind after he wrote a book, he just blew up, was Steve Harvey, right?
Yes.
And you also become the expert on that subject because you, quote unquote, have a book out there.
Right. That's right.
And whether you are knowledgeable in that field or not, you got the book out there. You are the expert. And as you said, a lot of opportunities come around as a result of having
Yeah,
that book out there.
the book gives you credibility, right? And now
Yeah.
there should be integrity also, but we've seen recently there has to be integrity in your titles and what you call yourself and what, how you put yourself out there. But yeah, it gives you credibility for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And integrity is another subject for another show. I'm
Yes.
already thinking. I'm already thinking about it. But if someone believes that they have a story to tell but lacks the confidence, what would you say to them?
I would say to write it, just write it anyway. And I would say to tell somebody who can encourage them along the way. Don't tell everybody, but if you do lack the confidence, then you just keep writing no matter what, but you also share it with somebody who is trusted, who will encourage you and who will push you when the lack of confidence comes in and you don't want to write.
Okay. Now, Giselle, I've done some research on you, as I like to do with my guests, and I found that you're very selective about the clients that you work with. You feel that healing is such an important part of sharing a story. Why is that?
Yes. I am selective. You're right. And I think that it's because if you are not healed, you will mismanage the assignment. So a book is an assignment, and it's an assignment that has people tied to it, other people, your readers, your listeners, people who watch you. Everybody is tied to this message in your book. And so I have had to I lovingly, but I've had to say, you're not ready. You're not ready for the book, and there's work that still needs to be done. And oftentimes, Calvin, that comes out in conversation. So what I do is I meet with people first. I hear them, I hear their story. I want to know the things before I work with them. And I can hear in their voice if there's still brokenness, if there's still, that you're going to bleed over your readers, then, I lovingly say, I think you need time. I think you need time. I think you need to work it out, work those things out. And I will tell you, I have never had anybody get angry with me for it. I've actually had people come back and say, you were right. I was not ready. And I did the work, and and then at that moment they were ready, because it's not about publishing the book. It's not about that. It's not about the income. It's not about the transaction. It's not about me making money in my business. It's not about that. It's about the assignment, and it's always going to be about the assignment.
All right. So they shouldn't write from an open wound, let's say. So
No.
so how would someone know the difference between sharing a testimony or reliving their trauma? How would that person know?
So they can write. They can always write, because writing does heal. It is therapeutic. What I say is, but don't write and think that you're going to automatically publish it. So when you write any message, when you do anything, really, it's always for us first when we do anything. So when we're speaking, the message is always for us first. It's always for the speaker first, right? When we're writing a book, that is always for the author, the writer first. And so it's like that. Even pastors will say the message from the sermon is for the pastor first, right? But that holds true in every area. So I do say, definitely write, but write from a place of you are healing yourself. And so not you're writing to a reader. So I do want to make that distinction in when you're healing, and when you are writing from a place of you're still hurt, your words come out differently. So there's not humility. It's prideful. When you're writing from a place of hurt, it's prideful writing. You can see the pride in the writing. When you're writing from a place of you need to heal, there it's humility, and you can hear the humility in the writing.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we're going to have a video from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Welcome back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. This episode is Beyond the Book, where your story comes alive. And we've had a great couple of segments with my guest, Giselle Quintanilla. I want to finish up Heal Before You Speak. Giselle, what conversations about healing do you believe that society avoids?
I believe that society avoids talking about healing your inner child, childhood trauma, because the things that we experience as adults, a lot of it is rooted in our childhood, in things that we experienced, things that we lived or that we saw, that we really shouldn't have as children. And so I think we avoid that. I think that society does a good job of glossing over things by almost excusing it, right? So if for example, the word trigger, and we have triggers. So those triggers, what they do is they'll excuse it. Oh, I was triggered, and that's it. And then you just leave it there, right? When in reality, triggers should be dealt with. They're not necessarily bad. They're indicators, but they're bad when you just say that you're triggered and then you walk away like nothing happened, or you almost like use it as an excuse for your behavior, when really you're supposed to confront it, deal with it, and then work it out so that you get better and you're not as triggered. So society does a really good job of taking words and kind of just making them excuses for people to act the way they act, and they're not healed.
Okay. And I believe that another topic that society avoids is forgiveness. I mean, talking about true forgiveness after you have broken my heart, broken my back, beat me down, not only me, but sometimes my entire family or generation. What role has forgiveness played in your journey?
So huge. During the pandemic, I did mention my divorce. During the pandemic, I went through separation and divorce, and it was really traumatic the way that it happened. And I had to make a decision to forgive. And what is interesting about forgiveness is that it goes against everything the society teaches, to your point, right? So meaning if somebody does you dirty, you do them dirty back. That's society. That's the norm, right? If somebody does, or if they do you dirty, you cut them off, right? They're dead to you. That's another one. They're dead to you. But in reality, that is not, one, it's not healthy. We think it's healthy. We call it healthy boundaries. It's not. It's not healthy because it's still in you. And there are things that you need to forgive so that you can be good on the inside. Whereas society helps you, has you thinking that forgiveness is for the other person, but it's not for the other person. It is so that you can operate in the potential that you are called and designed to operate. So I really had to forgive my children's father and some of the stuff that he did. And I really had to sit and say, it's not, I had Ready Writer Services. I had my business. I was helping other people. I could not afford to be in unforgiveness. I couldn't afford to hold a grudge over this man, or to come back at him, or to do him dirty the way he did. I couldn't afford to do that. And I had kids. And the thing that people don't understand about forgiveness is that forgiveness is also, those are seeds that you're planting for the next generation. So my children watched me. I had to forgive because I don't want that to go and be passed on to them. And then they see unforgiveness and they see the bitterness and the resentment and the anger. That's what we sow. When we don't forgive, we're sowing those seeds into the next generation. And I couldn't do that. I could not do that. So I had to really operate differently from even what I saw when my parents split up. I had to really shift and do things differently for my kids against what society, says.
That's right. And one thing about children is they are very attentive. They they hear things, and they may not be able to process it at that moment, but they keep it. And down the line, as they get more mature, it'll come back to them, and they'll figure it out. And
Right.
somewhere in life, they may find themselves in that exact situation, and all of that knowledge, all that wisdom, and the way mom acted will come back to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. So moving to our next segment, it's purpose in action, because you often talk about helping people flourish.
Yes.
What does flourishing look like to you?
To me, flourishing is helping people grow
Hmm.
into who were designed to be. So when when we're born, we learn what we learn from our families, from our parents, right? The environments that we are placed in. And then we have to move into different environments where we can flourish, where we can grow, right? So you don't put a shark in a fish tank. Right? So you can't do that, right? And so you have to be able to grow. I know there is a story about a baby eagle who grew up around chickens. And so for a
Right.
long time, right, he thought he was a chicken and he would peck at the gun. He thought he was a chicken. And then he saw an eagle soar one day in the sky and was like, oh, what's that? Right? Like, don't worry about it. You're a chicken. But he was really an eagle. And so you need to be in environments and in places and around things and listening to things that help you flourish and grow from the inside out.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I definitely agree with you as well. My next question is, and you have touched upon this, but I'm thinking from my point of view, how does faith and business work together in your life? Faith and business, how does it work together in your life and what you're doing with your company?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. That's a great question. um, Everything I do, I make every attempt to be rooted in God's word. So, however, from the things that people don't see, which is integrity, right? Doing the right thing when people don't see it, from the things that people don't see, and making sure that I am, for example, disciplined with my time, right? That I'm not over here fooling around when I know I have clients and assignments that I have to do. It also looks like when I meet with my clients. When I meet with my clients, they know it's never just about the book. I'm never like, hey, did you write? What did you write? How did you write? What, it's always, how are you? How are you feeling? How is your family? How are your kids? I ask certain questions so that I can know what is going on in their lives that is going to could potentially hold them, hinder them from completing whatever it is that God called them. Because it might be the book, it might be the book and something else. I don't know. But those attacks are real. And so for me, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur who has these clients and has these relationships with them, it's almost like a responsibility to cover them in prayer so that they know, right? They're covered. It's not just, it's because, again, it goes back to what I said earlier. The assignment is weighty. There is weight in every assignment. If you have a speaking engagement, you know this, that's an assignment. And so, books, same thing, that's an assignment. And there's always going to be hindrances to that. There's always going to be an opposition because the enemy doesn't want you to complete the assignment. So for me, it's asking them what's going on in their lives so I know how to pray for them. It's making sure that I am operating in integrity, getting the stuff done on time for them, and checking in, and then just encouraging them in God.
Okay, sounds good. Has there been one success story from a client that still inspires you today?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I had a client, she's in Florida, and she came to me with her manuscript, her draft, and she was like, I just need you to edit this. It was a story about her mom and how she grew up. And so I, did it, and I met with her several times, and I'm like, listen, I gave her some honest feedback, right? Because that's the thing is, if you have somebody working on your draft, you need somebody who really has a heart for your book and your message and isn't just going to yes you to death. So they're going to be honest with you. And I worked with her. She got a traditional publishing company to publish her. And now she is she's speaking on stages, on podcasts. I see her doing events. So I'm always looking, and she tags me, which I love. I always tell my clients, tag me in what you're doing because I enjoy that. And so for me, it's such an honor to be even a small part of the journey where they take one thing and they understand that it really isn't just the one thing. There's so much more that God has. So yeah, she's her name is Lynn. So Lynn Green, she's phenomenal.
All right. Well, Lynn Green, keep it going. Keep it going. You're doing a great job. Your mentor is very happy with you. And we're going to take a commercial break right now. We'll be right back in 60 seconds. You don't want to go anywhere because this is Born to Speak to You TV. Hi, this is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV, and here's your Born to Rise tip for today. You're not stuck. You're just committed to certain patterns of behavior that in the past may have worked for you. But guess what? You've grown past those patterns of behavior. Now they're more harmful than they are helpful. And the reason that you can't move forward is because you keep applying an old formula to a new level in your life. That old formula, that is for where you were. But you've moved on to another level. And it's time to have a new formula, a new solution. So change the formula and get a different result. If you keep doing what you did when you were there, it's not going to work out. You've moved on to another level, change the formula, and step into your purpose. You were born to rise.
From the street streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
We're back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. This episode is Beyond the Book, where your story comes alive. My guest, Giselle, we've been having a great conversation. I want to finish up the segment on purpose in action. I have another question for you, and that is, how do you measure success beyond book sales? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. How do you measure success beyond book sales?
I would say success is measured by the fruit that you bear, right? The good fruit, where you have people whose lives change and get better because of your message, because of whatever it is that you shared, where they are inspired and now they're doing whatever it is they're called to do, right? Whether it's a book of overcoming. So my book, my heart in the pain plan was for women or people to heal from brokenness, relationship, heartache, and I really wanted that. And so for me, I didn't care how many books I sold. I really enjoyed seeing people I didn't even expect. I had a woman one day at my church, and I never would have thought it. She never mentioned anything. And she said, I read your book and I realized I have work to do. I have to start my healing journey. And so when you hear that people's lives are being changed, that they are getting better, that they're flourishing, that they're doing those things that they're called to do, it's inspiring them. It doesn't matter how many books you sell. That one life changed is worth all of it.
I got it right. I thought that was going to be your answer. So thank you so much for that. And now we're going to move into our last segment. This is the segment I like to call 30 Seconds to Speak Life. So Giselle, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you'll have no more than 30 seconds to answer the question. All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's go. Finish this sentence. The story someone is afraid to tell is often
the story you need to share.
Okay, sounds good. What legacy do you hope to leave through your work?
Legacy of generational blessings.
Okay. If our viewers could remember only one thing from today's conversation, what would it be?
That there's more. There's more for them than whatever it is they're doing now.
Okay. Where do you see your mission taking you in the next 5 years?
Oof. Global. I really do believe it. I believe just globally sharing stories.
All right. Sharing stories. I love that. What is one story that someone is carrying right now that you believe deserves to be told? What is the one story someone is carrying right now that you believe deserves to be told?
I want to say the story of how they grew up. Like they're just broken childhood, but coming up, overcoming, and now it's totally different and they're helping other people.
Okay. Now you mentioned going global in the next 5 years. Where do you see Ready Writer Services going or growing to?
I see it reaching also people who can't directly work with me. So online, everything, just access to writing courses, to how to write manuscripts, how to share, how to be in media, marketing, but doing it at a larger scale so that authors don't feel shy in their marketing, but they feel confident in their message.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, that's the end of that segment. So, Giselle, how can people connect with you and learn more about Ready Writer Services?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you're welcome to email info@readywriterservicesllc.com. Very responsive there.
Okay, and it's right on the screen, so anyone can see that, write it down, and contact Giselle with any further questions, anything that you need to know. She'll be happy to help you out with that. So, Giselle, I want to thank you for being a wonderful guest on
Yeah.
Born to Speak to You TV. Stay in touch. Um, Down the line, when we're in, our third or fourth year, let's say, I'm claiming that right now. We'll love to have you back. And if I can ever be of service, please think of me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Calvin. This has been awesome.
All right, you have a great one. And we'll be right back after this commercial. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Wow, what a powerful conversation. My guest today, Giselle Quintanilla, reminded us that our stories are more than memories, they're messages. We've explored the power of storytelling, the importance of healing before sharing, and why writing a book is often just the beginning of a much larger purpose. One of the biggest takeaways from today's episode is this: your story has value. The challenges that you've overcome, the lessons that you've learned, and the experiences that you've lived through may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. So here's my challenge to you: don't let your story stay locked away. Whether it's through a conversation, a journal, a book, a podcast, a speech, or simply encouraging someone who needs to find hope, find a way to share the wisdom that you've gained from your journey. That's what I try to do now. I really enjoy speaking to my younger nephews and nieces and giving them the benefit of the experience and the wisdom that I've gained. Hopefully, they're listening and they'll come to a point in life where something that Uncle Calvin has says will make their life a lot easier. They don't have to make the same mistakes that I made. If this episode inspired you, please share, like, and subscribe to Born to Speak to You TV. Share this episode with someone who has a story to tell but may not yet realize the impact that their voice can have. Again, I want to send a special thank you to our guest, Giselle Quintanilla, for speaking life into the moments that matter and for reminding us that every chapter has a purpose. And I'd like to send out a special thank you to DFN Broadcast Studio for the opportunity to have this platform and bring you these conversations. A little teaser about our next episode. I have heard from so many people, even family and friends, that they really like the theme music to Born to Speak to You TV. Well, guess what? The writer of my theme music is Raquel Soto, and she's going to be on the next episode of Born to Speak to You TV. You're not going to miss this. This young lady is so deep, not only in spirituality, but in wisdom and just her understanding of the cadence of life. This is an episode that you're going to want to check out, and you're going to want to share this, and you're going to see yourself in the cadence of life. And so remember, no matter what chapter you're in right now, your story isn't over. I'm Calvin Gibbs. Oh, and I have to ask you to please check out our YouTube page, Born to Speak to You TV. The QR code is on the screen. Yes, check out not only this episode, but past episodes. You can subscribe and check out future episodes of Born to Speak to You TV. Maybe you'd like to be a guest or have someone in mind that we can talk to about being a guest. So please scan the QR code and subscribe. I'm your man, Calvin Gibbs. And until next time, keep speaking life into the moments that matter.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to speak to you. He's got that rhythm in his truth, that fire in his flow. Speaking life into the moment, watch it grow. Every phrase, every beat, a breakthrough cue.